welcome to this new Metaphysical Meltdown episode with the beautiful Jennifer Schwartz-Flack. Thank you so much for everybody being here today. Second time you will have seen me, perhaps. We were hoping to go live, but that just didn't work. And sometimes, it doesn't. It doesn't work all the time that Facebook will combine with Zoom and we'll be able to take questions. So everybody, I'm really sorry. I know that you wanted to ask her questions. So I am going to channel you today. And I'm going to think of many questions as I can to ask her. And hopefully we can have her back again when things are working a little bit better. It's just that there's a gabillion people trying to do what we're doing today. So sorry for that. But here we are at Metaphysical Meltdown. And I just want to send it right over to you, Jennifer. It looks like people are maybe going to be able to see a split screen. It's hard to tell. I guess I just don't know. Usually, I tend not to know. But thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Very good. And you live in Scottsdale, Pennsylvania, is that right?
I do. It's about 40 minutes southeast of Pittsburgh. So we're far enough out of town, but it's nice to go downtown and kind of hang out and experience city life for a little bit and come back to the sticks here.
Well, I was there last year. Oh, gosh, and now I'm wondering if it was 2018 instead of 2019, but I was there in support of my friend who was having a hip replacement. And I was near Chester, Pennsylvania.
I think you would have been on the other side of the state, but at least you're here in PA. So maybe you can come and visit us here at my center sometime. And we'd love to have you.
It was beautiful there. Oh my gosh. Because I love old architecture, and her town is very small, and there were farm stands. And after a few days, I kind of, got the lay of the land, and I could go get this great produce for a couple of bucks. And it was a very small town. They had, I think it was like Friday night was the community night, and I got to go to that. And I was overcome by how beautiful I thought Pennsylvania was. And some of my people live in Minnesota, and I kind of felt a little bit the same.
That's awesome. Yeah, you definitely have to come back out and visit us sometime. We'd love to have you.
I hope so. I hope to travel. We had a pretty exciting trip planned, like a lot of people this year. We were going to go to Wisconsin of all places, but it might happen again. We're pretty much in the moment, aren't we?
Absolutely. It's the best way to live. The only way to live.
Exactly. So can you tell me, just hit the highlights, would you? Tell me, you have a lot of things that you do. So tell me what you do.
Wow. That's the money question, right? Like, what do you do?
Yes.
So I'm a licensed professional counselor. I was a college professor. I own my own wellness center. It's more of a holistic counseling facility, but we do Reiki. We do lots of different modalities: physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual, and energetic. So we combine all of those. And in our area, we're kind of like the niche, because you can't really find a psychic counselor, right? If they hear voices, and you might get committed. So I'm the counselor that knows what you're going through. So I see a lot of adolescents. I kind of get billed a lot of times as having Hogwarts, because I teach a lot of kids, because I'm a K through 12 guidance counselor as well. I think I went through a 20-year identity crisis. So I got all these on-the-job training certifications. So Spirit knew that I needed to have all this background and formal education to do what I'm doing now. So I do own Starborn Illuminated Publishing. That's been a fun journey the last about 8 or 9 months now. That just got off the ground at the end of 2019. I have a lot of different moving parts. I've died 5 times, so I've had 5 near-death experiences. I'm extremely blessed to have a beautiful son. I have 1 son, and I'm really excited to see what all this transition is leading up to, because I know from Spirit that we have a lot of amazing, exciting things happening, and we're all coming together and networking and connecting for this very purpose. So I'm super pumped, and I'm sure there's a lot more things I probably missed. I mean, I see clients individually now, since all this lovely transition time. We're doing it all via telehealth and the internet. And thank God for that, because we are still able to connect in that way. But it's definitely enhancing our spiritual connection, because we're really reaching out in energy a lot more. And it's a beautiful thing, because it just really accentuates that ability to connect with people. Like we go to the gym and we exercise our muscles, and nobody thinks about exercising their intuitive or energetic or spiritual connecting or fitness. So this has really given us a lot of spiritual bicep curls, right?
And I'm so thankful for all of you folks that do telehealth, because I can't imagine people who really, really, really need that connection with their counselor or with their doctor, and they, might not been able to do that. And so I just applaud all of you folks. I have a couple friends that do that right now, and I'm just, it's so great. What you said earlier, though, about being a counselor that is a spiritual person too, I love that. And I love that you're working with kids, because I always think, I wonder what life could have been like if I would have had some help when I was a little kid. Because I was basically me way back then with no help.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of kids. I was that kid too, and
Yeah.
I quit high school 5 months before graduation because I was very, very much considered the brains, right? The nerdy kid. The only reason I got away with a lot of things is because they said I was eccentric because I had really high IQ. You should have said psychic there instead of eccentric, but that title definitely let me slide through a lot of places that I shouldn't have. But, it all made me able to counsel now from that perspective. And my goodness, it's very rewarding. Very busy right now, but very rewarding.
It's one of my most favorite things to do, is to help little kids.
Mm.
I don't have kids and I don't really understand them, but I think they're fascinating little beings.
Oh, they are fascinating. Some of the things that they tell me, like, being an author, like I've written my first book. I have a couple in the pipeline right now to come out, but just their accounts in and of themselves are mind blowing. I mean, I know what I experienced as a child, but these children coming in, indigos, crystalline rainbow children, they're so absolutely fascinating. It's almost like, I should really pinch myself. I'm really working right now. This is awesome.
I had a little one come in to see me, maybe a couple years ago. When she got up and left the chair, she happened to look down, and underneath the chair was a key. And you could see her whole face lit up. She was just a little stinker too. She said, "Do you think the spirit left me a key?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I said to her mom and dad, I said, "That little one can just go ahead and sit on the other side of the table now for the rest of the day." Much
Right?
higher being than me.
Awesome, though. That's amazing. My son and I died in childbirth, so I didn't realize how connected he was until he was about 7 years old. And as a therapist, I'm very much. I guess I'm probably hyper focused on him being expressive and like really talking about his feelings and where's that feeling at. And he's 7 and he says to me in the funeral home, he goes, "Mommy, there's bees all over me." I said, "Honey, there's no bees in here. There's flowers." And I wasn't going to take him to the funeral home. We usually don't do funeral homes. We're a family that we connect in spirit. My mom was a Native American. My dad laid hands. I grew up like that. My dad was in World War II, so I was born late in life to him. My dad was 65. My mom was 35. My story is almost unbelievably extraordinary, like miraculous thing after miraculous thing. But here's this little boy who just lost one of his friends. He was 8 years old and in second grade, and he was a victim of an accident of a rollover type crash with an ATV. So his little friend, was contracted, obviously, like we know these things, but on a human level, my people call normies, right? All the normies are like, "This is terrible. Here's this little boy's spirit coming to my kid and saying, 'Hey, check out these grasshoppers.'" And my kid's gone, "Mom, Dakota's here with grasshoppers. What do you think he wants to do?" And there's different conversations that happen at those points, but he's telling me there's all these bees on him. And that was one of my defining moments as a mother of an intuitive child, that I realized he was getting stung with everyone's grief. And it wasn't until he was outside rolling on the ground, wiping himself down, everything just collapsed. Because every timeline, every time we had experienced some allergic reaction in a funeral home, every time we experienced hysteria and fits of crying in a funeral home, as a baby infant, it now made sense. And I was like, wow, this is mind blowing. And here's my soon to be ex-husband now, but my son's dad's looking at me. He's like, "What the hell's wrong with him?" And I said, "He's feeling every person's grief in that funeral home. And here's me trying to defend my child's intuitive, empathic, spiritual experiences in a normal, in a normal marriage. And my husband's like, you're effing nuts, lady. Like, this is crazy. And this is a fundamentalist Christian family who thought, my Harry Potter birthday for my son's 5th birthday was pretty much blasphemous. So it was a hard road to hoe, but I definitely find helping children, especially my own, who's 14 now, he just turned 14 Sunday, and he blows my mind every day. I mean, I connect to spirit 15, 20, 30 times a day consciously for other people. But, just even for myself, he gives me messages that are like, boom. I was like, did you just say that? And he's like, well, yeah, what's that mean? And he doesn't even realize what he's saying. He's just so pure. And it's so cool. I mean, sometimes it scares him too. There's we have a lot of moments. This is a really cool thing that I saw help a lot of families, and maybe you can pass it along too to your clients and people that you work with. We have a code word for the stores. We had to develop this at a very young age. A lot of times I help trauma victims do this exact same thing. We apply it to trauma-based triggers. So they just have a code word they say to their loved one, and they remove themselves from the trigger, right? So I realized one time my kid's almost peeing his pants in a store, and I said, what's wrong? And he goes, there's a bad spirit here. I said, okay. So I'm looking around to see who just saw my son say, there's a bad spirit here. This lady's at the checkout going, oh, she's horrified, And I was like, okay, we just left the buggy. We left everything go, and we left. And now the code word pineapple. He just says pineapple. I will leave the entire grocery cart full and depart the store with him immediately. So it's helped him. I can't tell you how many times. And when we travel, different areas, it's really hard to acclimate to energetically, spiritually. So he drops the pineapple bomb, we're out of there.
I'm so glad you said that. That will help a lot of people. I can always tell if my husband has felt something. His eyes get really big and he says, do you feel anything? He's really empathic. And I'm more so now than I was, but he's very much so. So thank you for saying that. Your son has a 1,000,000-watt smile. I checked you out a little bit. He's got a really nice smile. So the thing is we all kind of know each other in this metaphysical community. And that's why I always tell people, as kind of a joke, we have to be so kind to one another, because we might be speaking to somebody else's best friend. So we're all kind of interconnected. So I know that I met you from a dear friend of mine, and she sent me your way. And I am spending this time at home talking to people all over the place, all over the country, all over around here, might be down the street. And we're bringing these small little moments to people, just so that, because I know so many things that you can say to support people that are having a hard time right now. What are you noticing about what people are going through?
Right. So the main trend that I'm seeing now with my clients, both my counseling, my mental health clients, and my spiritual advisement clients, are that they are feeling intense, and it can be very extreme. It can go the gamut here. Waves of anxiety, waves of energy. The people that are not awakened are experiencing extreme discomfort on all that continuum. My empaths and I heal healers. I say that often. I first started out healing myself. Obviously, we all start out there. Journey of a wounded healer, right? Had to figure myself out, had to continually address that today, daily, every day. It's a work in progress. We're all masterpieces, right? Walking each other home. So, and I see my empaths and my psychics and my healers, they're really struggling with, okay, what does this mean on the celestial galactic level? They're really struggling with that right now. So, I call my team, my liaisons, my galactic liaisons, my galactic governance. That's what they told me to call them a long time ago. And I honestly, to be quite honest with you, I didn't know what they were. I just thought they were lights. I was like, look at all those pretty lights. And Melchizedek was there. I was like, well, he was cool. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that my dad was connected here on this plane before he passed. He passed when I was 13. So, I'm getting a lot of this honest from both sides of the street. Didn't realize that either until I unpacked a lot more of this. But they run the gamut from struggling with anxiety. And they're, as a counselor, I have to walk a really fine line because I don't like to diagnose. And I'll tell you why. It's very subjective in nature. So if the counselor's having a bad day, you're going to get I have a potty mouth too because I worked in the police department and 911 for a really long time. So I try to keep it clean, but it's just very my authentic self showing, right?
Okay,
But
do your best.
yeah. It's authentic. My book's called Unapologetically Authentic, and I usually talk about that first, just in case one slips out somewhere along the way, right? But
Okay.
it's my colorful, my mosaic beingness sparkling out. But what I see happening is a lot of times they get diagnosed bipolar. They're not bipolar. They're empaths they're running everybody in the room, in their environment, in their neighborhood. Sometimes I have this one lady that, she could tell you what's going on everywhere on the block because of her emotional swings. And I was like, I really don't think you're bipolar. I'm the therapist, so can I see a little bit more of the behavior? And I will let you know if I believe this diagnosis is accurate. It could have been accurate then. I don't think it's accurate now because your evolutionary process has exceeded where you were. So you no longer are bipolar. Let's just embrace what you are. And they heal so fast. It's almost unbelievable. Like, it chokes me up sometimes because I have people that were suicidal. I'm removing attachments and all kinds of lovely other things. And I'm like, okay, so that's what this was. And this is you. And this is what you can be if you decide to unpack that and kind of really just embrace who you are. And they leave there in one session and they're like, I've never been to a counseling session like this. I'm like, well, this is kind of like an out of this world counseling session. You know that, right? But it really, really helps people a lot to understand that they're going through more than just mental health issues right now. So they're feeling this energy and it's palpable. We know that. That's something that we deal with every day. But to somebody that's never experienced energy, it's very overwhelming.
It sure is. Some of us experience it as pain in the body, heaviness and extreme pain in the body. I know I do. I had a very spiritual counselor when I had quite a bit of depression and that sort of thing. And I just am I bless her all the time for recognizing, what it is that was up with me, as opposed to what it might have been labeled before. And, I had people ask me, do you hear voices? And of course, appropriately, I said, uh-uh.
Very good answer to that question. No, I don't.
I do not. The whole time I'm thinking, but your grandma wants you to know. That sort of thing. Or the 14 angels behind you want you to know this. But
right.
Many of us, did not have that opportunity. We had a muggle diagnosis. And so I bless you. Oh my gosh, the work you're doing is so needed because and it's especially needed for those of us who are trying to figure out, why do we have that incredible physical pain, and how can we relieve that? That's for me. I recognize that I put people's pain in my body and it stays in there. And we're always trying to find out, what can we do about feeling these energies? And so just really a lot of not judging ourselves right now, and just really feeling, because the body is talking, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's from all the way back into my neuropsych days when I was teaching as a college professor at a local college. The brain does miraculous things with the body. It's processing energy. All of this is working holistically. Like, a lot of places only treat 3 aspects. So they're going to treat you physically, psychologically, and emotionally, but they kind of just sweep under the carpet the energetic and spiritual, which is hinge pin. Like, we need that. Or we have what's called breakthrough or bleed through issues. So we'll just keep having relapses for drug and alcohol patients. It's soul loss. And that's, somebody said, can you just come up with a program for that? So we're in the process of doing that right now. It's definitely needed. I've definitely seen other people do similar things. But as far as empaths, with a lot of, I've empaths with fibromyalgia and psychics that have, historically had digestive issues. And I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I had 22 feet of my intestine removed when I was 19. So as an empath, I feel you. I just said I had to poop all the time. And my mother said, there's no way, Jenny, that anybody on this planet has to go to the bathroom that much. I said, Mom, my belly hurts every day, every single second of every day. She said, honey, rub your hand in a circle. I mean, these are people that believed in natural healing, right? My dad laid hands, and my mom was Native American. Go sit on the ground, rub your belly in a circle, and it'll go away. And it did. It did. And I thought my mother was magic for a really long time. Of course she is. She's saying, I am magic.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because now, as I evolve too in my process, I treat the water in people's body. When I have empaths, I talk to their water, I talk to their cells. Dr. Bruce Lipton,
Yeah.
there's so many out there. Dr. Masaru Emoto's work. There's so much science to back this up now. So I can go to my colleagues, my mental health, my psychologists, my doctors, my nurses, and I treat a lot of that front line. So I say, listen, here's the science that goes behind what I'm doing. And when you feel better, and you will, this is what you can do for your patients. And their minds are blown. They're like, wow. I said, this is stuff that you're never going to see in medical school. You've never once got that. I didn't in graduate school. I was 35 years old when I realized, I was like, God, you really want me to put my freak flag out on the front street? Are you sure? I went to school all this time. I'm going to blow it because I'm going to get, my license revoked, and, people are going to get this. And I remember, the whole trust the process thing, like this is what you signed up for. This is what we're doing. And I was like, because I thought, I'm a college professor. I was 34 years old. I was the youngest member in the department. It's going to be a cake job. I'm going to have a JAG. I'm going to retire from here, and my kids getting free education, and it's a done deal, right? He said, you're real cute, but you're just getting started. So I really need you to wake up. And I was like, uh-oh. So that birthed a whole new chapter and career in my life. And I was at a Benedictine mission college. I won't say the college's name because they don't appreciate it when I do different things. And they say, can you quit saying our name? I said, I'll just say local college.
Okay.
But I had a shaman say to me, where do you work at? And he was an older man. And I said, oh, I work at this Benedictine mission college. And this is just when I'm starting to first learn dowsing. And it's like 2012. I had this huge, massive awakening. I'm in Asheville. He says, hell, girl, you're the brightest light on that campus. My God, the demons in there. And I said, oh, there's demons on my campus? Like, what? And he goes, I won't say the name of the religion. He says, is it this religion? And I said, yeah, it might be. So we had a lot of cleaning up to do.
Well, I'm so happy to meet you, because you are a perfect amalgamation of what I think the future is going to be. I really do.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's been a terrifying road. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not been easy.
When the guides say go, you have to go, though, because they'll tell you in a little whisper, but pretty soon they're just like, would you just go? And it's going to be just fine.
They do say that. They're like, it's all going to be okay. I'm like, if I hear that one more effing time, it's not going to be okay. I have to jump off this ledge. And pretty soon I just feel the breeze. And I'm like, oh, somebody pushed me. That was cute. I do ledge jump now. I just jump because they're like, go. And now I ledge kick too. When I see people getting really close, I'm like, oh, look, that's what you're getting called to do. Aren't you cute?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. And sometimes we just have to trust. I always tell my husband, I said, when they say go, they have never been wrong. Sometimes there's something that's not exactly, that's all me.
Yep.
I'm the cog that might make the mistake, but those guys are not incorrect. They always say, don't wonder and worry. Those are the two things. Don't wonder and worry. And why do that anyway? That's what we're learning right now, is to trust ourselves, to listen to the body. And I had a whole entire year of diarrhea. So my sister in stomach problems right here in front of me, my goodness, and found out all kinds of problems that I had, but we won't go into that because some of my listeners already know, and boy, are they sick of that. And Tom says I can't say the D word anymore.
Listen, I'm telling you, I say I'm the pooping princess. Like, I have no intestines, so I've had to find ways to make fun of this, make light of this, because it was heavy because I made it heavy. Like, I mean, I had all of my guts removed. So maybe we'll do a show just on guts. I don't know if you want to.
Well, yeah, it's funny because my guides, you know how funny they are. I was telling somebody else this a couple interviews ago, is that they have such a great sense of humor, so they give me music. So my little tagline is called, I'm the rock and roll psychic. That was
I
my,
love it.
well, I had to be somebody a long time ago, so that's why I just chose it. So the other day they gave me 50 ways to leave your lover, but it's 50 ways to love your liver. And I just about have the whole song. So I'm not a singer, but I'm going to do a little rap one of these days, you know. And I did this thing. I have a Tesla one from about the 30s, and it's not up anymore because somehow it got taken down or it got messed with. But it is all about the light. It's the light.
Amen, sister.
So, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Well, my goodness, you know, my list says author, Reiki master, psychic medium, spiritual healer, teacher. You also have a lot of letters after your name, and some of those letters I do not know what those mean.
So I have a master's degree in education, so that's the MED. I joke all the time with the doctors, like I do from time to time go to Western medicine just to be okay and on the safe side, and usually just to make my family more comfortable. I've not done that because I've died 5 times, and that's the only times I went to the hospital, so that doesn't work out real well for me. But I have my own MED, right? MD has a big E between it. And then NCC is a nationally certified counselor. LPC is a licensed professional counselor. And RMT is probably one of my most, I value that probably. Not that I don't value my formal education, but when I got Reiki introduced to me, it changed my entire life. My physical being, my psychological being, my own spiritual being has thanked me numerous times, like, oh, why did it take you so long to get here? But I'm a Karuna Holy Fire Reiki Master, a Holy Fire Reiki Master, a Sui Tibetan Reiki Master, and a trained shaman as well, which I don't usually list. It's funny because I just kept seeking because I was thinking there was some answer out there. And William Rand, after he saw me 3 times in 1 year, and that's how I met Kelly, our mutual friend, he was like, what are you looking for from me? And I said, answers. And he goes, I never died 5 times. And I just looked at him and I was like, shoot, like, what the heck? And he goes, Usui never died 5 times either. I was like, what does that mean? You're the guru. I just paid you a crap ton of money. I want you to just give me the answer, man. Just lay it on me. I got this. Like, I'm ready for it. He's like, you need to go sit and meditate. I'm like, oh my God, that is such a guru answer. That's not acceptable. I can't accept that. And, you know, I think it was that time when Jesus descended out of it's a Queensberry hotel. It's a beautiful hotel. Right out of the ceiling, 7 dragons with him. I'm like, oh, shit's about to get real. He had a blue umbilicus. He plugged it in and my whole life changed again. And I was like, I think that's the answer that I'm looking for.
Yeah, he doesn't play around. Yeah, those are the last 3 were the letters I didn't know. So that's a lot of Reiki master you've got there. And, you know, sometimes Kelly sends me Reiki a lot, which I appreciate so much. It is just so peaceful and so beautiful and such big energy. And my friend sent me another type of Reiki. It was white fire Reiki the other day, and it feels different too.
Mm-hmm.
Really beautiful.
That's very cool that the white fire, I actually downloaded that same session where he told me I needed to go meditate and find my own answers. When Jesus descended out of the ceiling. And, you know, I just wrote all this down for my next book, because some of it's almost unbelievable, even to me on my continuum, like it's galactic and very vast and very far reaching. But I was just like, did that happen? Did that just happen to me? Oh my gosh. And I got downloaded this whole other Hoshi healing system, which is star and more celestial in nature. It does encompass a lot of the cosmic rays and a lot of the ascension flames. You know, I don't know how long this is, but I have a lot of information about that, and I'm just unpacking it now myself. So I'm trying to get it down. And a lot of people are like, well, I have all this downtime. I'm like, I love you. I still see 40 to 60 people a week. Like, I'm still really busy, and I still want that time for myself. So I scaled back on my own schedule a while, like about 2 weeks ago now. So I'm just trying to like limit it so I can actually get out what I downloaded.
Yes, because it comes to us, and for a little bit, we don't know what it is exactly. We play around with it, we work with it, and then we can write about it and serve it up. That's where I'm at now. And I'm in I don't know what I've got yet, but it's coming. It's a star thing too.
Absolutely. See, that's another probably a reason why we're connected again. Like we're coming together, and you're on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, and I had somebody come up and say to me, East City's on the West Coast, the East Coast, you guys have Greenbrier, but you need to have more of a presence there. And I said, I agree. And he goes, well, get busy. I'm like, oh, no, I didn't agree to that. I wasn't actually volunteering because I think you just did. I think Spirit like gave the Spirit finger. And I was like, I don't like Spirit finger. I don't think that's the right finger.
Well, I think that means they're coming to land at your house. I figure they're coming to land at my house for sure with the structures they're building. And I'm going to let them in. I'm going to let them use the bathroom. I'll feed them. And when it's 3:33, just letting you know, 3:33, lots of love. So I don't know how long you have. I don't want to impinge on your time. Do you have a time to go, or can I ask you a couple more things?
Oh, you ask me everything that you want to ask me. I'm going to clear my schedule for you. So
okay, beautiful. So my people are Sky and Star and Stone people. So I didn't know that, of course, and always been just very aligned with the galactics. So what do you feel is happening, and do you feel, this is the $1 million question of the day, do you feel like there will be a light flash that we will see outside of ourselves, or is that a third eye thing? Has it already happened to some people? What do you have to say about that?
So the Men in Black little whatever the little thing is that goes pew, and it just juices all your memories, I feel like the earth is getting that to dissipate all lower and lower level frequencies in the grid system. So they did show me the celestial weaving from the cosmic grid to the crystalline grid, through the ley line systems. And I keep seeing these, I have a lot of connection with Mary Magdalene. I definitely feel like that soul pool is probably mine. I'm not sure how that all comes down yet. I did think I had an idea of how all of that fit together. And of course, Spirit gave me this huge chunk of information. I was like, well, I guess all that was not right. So, I'm getting information from the Council of Nine. And this all happened within the last year and a half for me. My life just exploded. And I was like, okay, so we're done doing this and we're going completely galactic. And they're like, you're a celestial counselor. Can you stop acting like you're not? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, people think I'm weird anyhow. Like, they're really going to think I'm weird. Like, I won't even fit into the psychic medium bubble anymore. Like, I have exploded that too. And every time I get a limitation, I realize that it's for my own growth and benefit, as well as everybody around me. So I need to, kind of step up and take that next call to that next level and let it expand me. And you can't go back to a previous state. Once you're expanded, you can't go back to that previous state. So it's been an unearthing. So as this celestial grid is getting like weaved in, and the stone people, we need to talk about that a little bit, because I think you're going to help me a little bit with some information and messages that I'm getting personally that I kind of didn't. I tell people this too. I'm like, if it doesn't make sense now, please stick it on the shelf. It will make sense later. When I say later, I've put stuff together from 6, 8, 10 years ago now. And they're like, oh my gosh, you held on to that? I said, well, when it's a message, it will stick with you. Like, and you won't get it. The recall won't be there until you have the other piece of information and it triggers it. So, here's this information that I got 6, 8 years ago. And I was like, oh, it finally makes sense today. And they're like, it takes that long. A lot of people want instant gratification. It's microwave society, right? 30 seconds, ding, you're done. Can you just give me the answer to that? And I'm like, you're real cute, but Spirit don't work that way. Time does not exist. Like, listen to me when I tell you this. Like, these constructs are human constructs. Like, they're not going to apply to the vastness that we are actually in. But you can try to put that little net on there. Go ahead. Let me know how that works out for you. I just bless them and send them love, and tell me if they need me in the future. And they come in and their hair's like out to here and they look like Giorgio, yes. And they're like, what is going on? And I'm like, come on in, let's talk about this.
That piece last piece is falling. That was me 2 nights ago. I listened to a doctor on Gaia. I couldn't tell you her name, but she was just absolutely flowing. She was like a female David Wilcock. She just didn't quit speaking. It was awesome. So she was talking about the hologram. And I got done listening to her after about 30, 40 minutes, and I just yelled, I get it. All the pieces just went, because I've always been shown physically, my guide will take my arm up to take a photo of the cloud. And I know there's something in there. And I'll come in and I'll look and there'll be messages. And thanks Spirit so much that they brought my beautiful friend Melanie, who develops these photos, and she reads them as I can't really tell you because this is her work and she's not ready to talk about it yet. But suddenly I understood that it is a lower dimensional picture we're seeing. It's a message from the high ups, and it's in code, it's in photo, it's in picture, it's a what is the word I'm looking for? It is a symbol. They're speaking to us. They're always speaking to us, and we just put the pieces together. So the day I realized that my brain is not very important, it's my heart.
That's your superpower.
It's my heart. And that's what Mr. Tesla told me. I was married to him in one of my, not the Tesla lifetime, but another lifetime. So he is my celestial husband, and he is with me at all times. And I said, why do I have you and Professor Einstein and Nostradamus as my main guides? Why do you want me? I'm not the biggest thinker you've ever met. What is the deal? They said, we want you for your heart. We don't want you for your brain. And I went, oh, and then I went, hey, that's what they're trying to say is the brain is not very important right now. I mean, you have a very big brain. I had one that wasn't working very much this morning, got a little bit more right now. I think it's because it's, it's afternoon. I'm waking up a little bit, but truly we're meant to now entrain heart and mind, are we not?
Absolutely. And, I will tell people all day long, 10, 12, 20 times a day, your emotional beingness, your heart space is your superpower. Because I worked in a lot of different fields with a lot of different populations where they thought weakness was emotion was a weakness. I'm like, no. Law enforcement. I worked at police departments. I ran a 911 center. Who lets a 20-year-old kid run a 911 center? Now listen, in their defense, I was psychic, so I remembered where everybody was at, right? So anytime anybody asked anything, I'm like, oh, 950 medic 6 air out of the hospital at 1041. They're like, how do you know that? I'm like, oh, I just have really good memory. I didn't out myself for a really long time. I just was really good at my jobs. I was really good at talking to people, and I was really good at remembering things. So I just rewound it in my brain, and I reread it, so I knew the information. That worked out good in school, too, until I got told I was cheating. No one writes the sentences from the book. I was like, oh, well, sorry. Not sorry.
That's a beautiful story. Thank you.
There's a lot. They ripped my erasers off my pencils so I couldn't change my answers, and they would give me the test repeatedly. But thank God for my third grade teacher, because she was like, she told my mom, she goes, I think she's quite odd. I think that was a really loving compliment. She's been in my life, my whole life. Like, she's been at my wedding. She's been at the birth of my son. So she was instrumental in obviously soul family, right? So, but saying that she's very odd.
Yeah. I tell my husband that all the time. You're an odd choice, but I'm glad I made it.
Absolutely. It's really fun to connect with you and with so many people through this, and I never once had a bad feeling. Like, I trust spirit so implicitly. Like, I've died. Like, when people say, how do you believe some of this stuff so blindly? And I'm like, dude, I'm not blind. I got multi-dimensional freaking vision. Like, I can see in places that you can't even think about yet, but we're cool. I love you. Like, I'm not judging that. I'm just like, I see the big picture. Like, I've died and been over there and trusted so much, in fact, that I got to come back, not once, but 5 times.
Oh,
like, there's so much, and not all of them were pleasant. And I have not unpacked all of them either, because, that's overwhelming. And at first I want to go dig through them, right? When I realize that I can get regressed, and I can go back and get all that stuff, and I can activate that DNA and blah, blah, blah. Spirit's like, you do not want to do that. And they gave me one little flash, and I was like, yep, you're right. I do not want to do that.
Yes, and I think that that's what's happening right now is in real time. We're all waking up to whatever level we need to, whatever needs to happen right now, we're getting it.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm excited because I think I'm seeing people that I never thought were going to open up and wake up. It's touchingly beautiful.
It really is. And then there's so many, like last year, they told me to have this bridges event and bridge the gap between the holistic and, the paranormal, the metaphysical, like the healers, like bring them all together. I'm like, how in the hell am I going to do that? And they said, have a peacemaker powwow. And I had these Native American chiefs, like from these different tribes. They said the 7 nations and the 5 tribes will come and help you. And I was having a meltdown moment, which I love to name the show, by the way. That's my life, metaphysical meltdown on a daily. So I go to this park, which is really close to us, and that's my spot, right? Like I just debrief there, and I ground into the earth, and I talk to Mother Earth, and I was just like, listen, I can't do this. And these Indians start pouring out of everywhere, and I was like, holy cow, like stuff's about to get real. They're like, it's going to take some time, but this is a giant peacemaking situation. And I said, okay, I got it. I'll just hold space for that. And I don't hold space. I used to hold space within myself. I didn't realize I did that. And, I had a lot of discomfort and a lot of pain. So then I realized I could hold space without holding it physically. So I let my energetic etheric bodies, like all of them, all 7 shells of them, hold things for other people. Cause on a, I don't even know how I want to say that, like, Sisterhood of the Rose or Brotherhood and Sisterhood of Light, however you want to see that, we're doing collective work, right? We're doing really high level healing work. And when we do that, it actually can affect the physical body extremely bad, like on a very, very significant instant level. So I would see people who instantly got like deathly ill. And I'm like, oh, think you're processing for the collective. Let's check some stuff. And once you realize that, and you can hold space, I've been seeing these spheres, and the Spirit Being Alliance is something that's been in my awareness for a little while now. And I see these spheres around people, and I was just like, this is awesome. But not too many people you can share that with. But we have an ascension club that I have online now. We used to gather them in my center, but they're my cream of my crop, right? You could talk to them anything about like UN stuff that's releasing, information to, we could talk about teepees and powwows and earth stuff, like human stuff. Like this is what we're going to do for our little potluck dinner that we're doing. And they're so cool. And having an ascension group is like, it's probably my guilty indulgence for the week. I just dump all the stuff that I get because I need my own space too. In addition to my own psychologist, I highly recommend that for everyone. Everyone needs a good therapist, counselor, whoever. You got to have a person.
Oh gosh, I believe that. I'm so lucky. I have lots of people around me that do this type of work, and we talk all the time, and they hear all the craziness that's in my brain. I want to go back to something you just said. I pray an awful lot that it'll be an indigenous leader that comes forward. It either sounds like, Holy One, send us an indigenous leader, or somebody's awesome Native American or African American grandma or somebody to lead us, because and I'm not talking about the president of the United States at this moment. I'm not talking about like any leader of any country at all. I'm not saying that. Where this is coming from is it's coming from something that Jason Estes said, who's, I love following that young man. He's always ahead of the curve. And he said the other night, he said, we're leaderless right now within this ascension. I have to think that's almost kind of true.
I agree with that. I have been getting, and I haven't really shared this with a lot of people yet. So, my ideas formulated of how I perceive it right now. So the Earth Star Mothers are holding space for Earth right now. So I see the 12 Earth Star Mothers that are actually holding the entire vibration for Earth. And as I'm telling you this, I'm getting like waves and waves and waves and waves. They're like, talk more about this. But I don't know if I have in my mind enough to articulate it. So through the cosmic rays and through the Sisterhood and Brotherhood of Light, our ascended masters, our galactic governance, all of our sky commands are all coming into this space where they are able to hold us up until that person arrives, which I believe it's going to be somebody who's centered in the earth. And when I say that, I meet with councils, inner earth, extraterrestrial, galactic, extra dimensional, however you want to say that. There's a lot of beings that are coming to our aid and our assistance right now, that this is very important in our trajectory for them to establish a very solid leader. And it's going to take some time to develop who that is. And I don't know if, I asked the other day, I was like, are they ready yet? You know how I wasn't ready, like, to step into my stuff? Like, are they not ready? Can I send them energy? Do they need to be ready? Is it a male or a female? Are they young? They're like, why are you asking human questions? And I was like, all right. It's almost like, that's enough. Can you stop?
Well, you were going to say, can I kick them off the cliff? That was.
Oh, I was. I totally was. I was going to ledge kick their ass. You better believe it. I was going to go boom.
Yes. Yes. Well, I do believe in all the levels.
Oh yeah.
You're talking about, and the holy ones up there. I mean, they've taken me in vision to councils also. And I've spoken to some mind-blowing folks up there. And I in the beginning wasn't sure if that's really what I was seeing, but I keep seeing it. And then they stand before me and they show me things to do. And when I do those things on myself and others, problems are adjusted. And so that's how I know it's the truth. Because if the guides are kind and calm and funny and stuff gets done, it feels good, it makes progress, and the person that I'm helping feels better, I'm in. That's all I need to know. So
amen, sister.
If somebody comes to me in a spacesuit that says, my name is Mr. Magoo, and I'm from, the Galactic Federation of whatever, as long as he can get the job done and he can show me his heart field, I'm on board.
Absolutely.
Yep. I mean, I have not seen Mr. Magoo from, what I'm saying, but I've pretty much seen, a lot of them, and I sure do appreciate that. Well, can you think of anything that you want to leave us with?
I do. I do. And I want to, this morning when I was meditating about my day, I always I do this funny thing. I call it my Keurig prayer, because my Keurig takes about 3 minutes to make my coffee, right? So people are like, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time for this. I'm like, I'm extremely busy. I get you. However, you got 3 minutes, man. Like, I don't care if you're sitting there waiting for your coffee, your dog's got to pee, something. You got 3 minutes. You got 5 minutes. Come on. So I ask for direction every day, and it can be 20 minutes. I might get an extra time. Like, my son might be with his dad. I can have more time to myself. But when I asked for direction today, they said, could you please transmute low-level frequencies for the world? And I said, oh yeah, I can do that. And they said, well, can you just ask? And just by asking, as soon as we put it out there, it anchors it even to a more solid vibration here on the earth, because it's spoken, right? So can you ask that all people that are experiencing, we have empaths, we have people that are extremely aware of all planetary energies that are affecting the earth right now, extra dimensional alliances that are affecting the earth, just to transmute that with a violet flame. That's all you have to do. You just have to think about it. I mean, that's where we're at right now. So we've gotten to this level where you think about something, it's manifesting. Like, there's no stopgap. So think it, and it's so. Feel it, and it's even more so, because it like just drives that home. That's like rocket fuel for that thought. So, thoughts are things. We've known this for a really long time. But that, and we have, not to go totally off with this, but, this quantum entanglement that allows that thought to go exactly to where we think about it immediately is causing that manifestation to be instant. So, and a lot of people don't want to talk about that. And I'm like, my brain works. And I jokingly say, thank you for the compliment, by the way, to say my brain works. A lot of especially my staff would disagree with you tremendously, because I don't know whether I'm coming or going. Time is not a thing for me. They're like, you're real cute, but you got to stay on time. I'm like,
hard. Time is hard right now. Oh,
it is. You know how you see that little thing that says, I can't adult today? I can't time today. Like, everybody that I work with, I'm like, hey, I'm running late. They're like, go figure.
I was saying that to my husband earlier, and he says, are you telling me you have the DUMS? And I said, I have the DUMS today. because this morning I was walking around the block saying, please everybody come in and help me because my brain is so odd. It's just odd right now.
And we're getting hit with all these different high frequency gamma rays, these cosmic rays that are coming in, and the ascension energies, I'm telling you, palpable, and we can feel that. We know that, but there's people walking around that are like, oh my gosh, I was at the store, and they're telling me, and I'm like, I love you, but if you just send love to it, like that's all you have to do. Just be love. That was my very first Reiki message. Maybe that's what I want to leave you with. My very first Reiki message when I got Reiki, when I received Reiki, because I had a message from Spirit. They're like, you need to do Reiki. I was like, what the hell is that? Like, I don't need keyed up for anything. I'm high enough strong. Like, I don't know. No. And they said, it will help you. And I said, okay, so let's do it. At the very end, I saw my mom, I saw my dad, I saw Jesus, and these people were all passed away, right? I saw God, I saw Ascended Masters. My poor Reiki master thought I was on drugs because he was just like, no one's ever reacted like that before. I mean, I was hysterically crying. The whole table was wet. I'm releasing lifetimes worth of stuff, right? Excuse me. So at the very end, the last part of that session was be love, see love, speak love, get love. It was so simple. It was so simple. Be love, see love, speak love, get love. If you be that frequency, which you wish to, and who doesn't want love? I mean, people say that they know. They're like, oh, I'm done with that. That's BS. That's crap. Everybody needs that. That's our life's blood. Love is how we run. Like we're like plants. If you're mean to a plant, plant's gonna die. We're plants. We need light. We need nurtured. That's how we receive our fertilizer, our nurturing. That's like, that allows us to grow. And I'm telling you, be love, see love, speak love, get love, changed my life. Simple, simple, simple. I mean, I'm very well studied. I'm very well versed. But my gosh, the simplest message changed my whole entire life.
Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. That's the frequency we're holding right now. It's love. Mm-hmm. And then over here in Tacoma, we're holding some peace.
I love it. I love it. It's exciting.
So I would love to talk to you about the stone people, because I can tell you what I've learned, and they're pretty awesome.
I'm excited. I need a session with you.
Well, we could definitely trade. You'd have to send me your info of time, because you're busier than me. I can figure it out. So, but thank you so very, 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 very much for coming on today. I sure do appreciate, and I would love to have you at another time for questions, because people will just love hearing you. And
I absolutely would be honored to do that.
There were a lot of questions, but we were just kind of establishing what you had going on over there in Pennsylvania.
A lot. We're holding out the East Coast here.
It was a lot. Okay, well, thank you so much, Jennifer, and I will be talking to you soon.
Thank you, dear. Much love. Take care.
Back to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.